Welcome to Think Global Education Services. Today's topic will be conservation of momentum and collisions. So first we shall discuss about conservation of momentum. We already know what is momentum. Momentum is defined as momentum is a physical quantity which is defined as product of mass times velocity. Now consider we have two balls. Mass of this ball is m1 and here is another ball. So mass of this ball is m2. And the first ball with mass m1 is moving in this direction with velocity v1. And mass m2, the ball with mass m2 is moving opposite to m1 with a velocity v2. And at some point in time, they will collide. So we can assume two different situations. First situation is before collision. The second situation is after collision. So before collision, the momentum of the first object is v1, which is equal to m1 v1. After collision, momentum of the before collision, momentum of the second object is m2 v2. After collision, the momentum of the first object changes to p3 and momentum of the second object changes to p4. Now, what is the conservation of momentum? The law of conservation of momentum states that when no external forces acts on the system of objects, the momentum is conserved. That means momentum before collision. Momentum before collision, and here I'm going to mark before collision as BC is equal to momentum after collision. So momentum after collision. I'm going to mark after collision as AC. So momentum before collision is equal to momentum after collision. So that means momentum before collision is P1 plus P2, which must be equal to momentum after collision P3 plus P4. Now we can discuss about what are the possibilities of these collisions. So here, when m1 and m2 collide, maybe m1 might move in this direction after the collision, and m2 might move in this direction after collision. And their velocities might change as, let's just say, v3 and v4. In some cases, the velocities of the objects might reverse. Now we shall discuss that when we discuss about the types of collision. Now here we are discussing about conservation of momentum, and according to conservation of momentum, momentum before collision is equal to momentum after collision, and we can look at an example. Now the example. Let us assume this is an object. This is an object with mass 10 kilograms. And it is moving the velocity 10 meters per second. And here is another object. This is a very big object with mass 15 kilograms. And it is at rest. That means velocity is equal to 0. Now, the 10 kilogram mass object will move in this direction, and at some point it will hit the 15 kilogram object, and we can say that they are going to stick together. So this condition is before collision here. After collision, both the objects stick together. This is 10, this is 15, and they move with the velocity v after collision. Now, we want to find what is the v after collision. So we can use the law of conservation of momentum, as there are no external forces acting in the system, and in this system there are only two objects. The first object is with mass 10 kilograms, second object is mass 15 kilograms. So we know what is the law of conservation of momentum. So first we have to calculate what is the momentum before collision of the first object. For the first object, mass is 10 kilograms and the velocity is 10 meters per second. Which must be equal to, and we have to add that with the momentum of the second object. So when we add the momentum of the second object's mass is 15 kilograms and its velocity is, as it is at rest, is 0 meters per second. Which must be equal to momentum after collision. Momentum after collision is mass of the first object plus mass of the second object times the velocity of the objects after collision. Now we know what is the mass of the first object and mass of the second object, which is 10 plus 15 kilograms. So from the left hand side, what we can get is 10 times 10 is 100 kilogram meter per second. Now here 15 times 0 is 0. So plus 0, which is equal to m1 plus m2 is 10 plus 15 is 25 times velocity of the objects after collision. So if you want the velocity of the object, we divide by 25. And what we'll get? We will get the velocity of the object is equal to 4. Velocity of the object equal to 4 meters per second. So this is how we can determine the velocity of the objects after collision using the law of conservation of momentum. Thank you for watching.